I did a rough sketch, first in pencil, just to see where the places were, and then with a fountain pen and an ink that was supposed to be waterproof, but can't always count on it. So now I'm going over buildings with some raw sienna. Though I normally start with the sky when I paint at home, I'm gonna leave the sky as something to do while I wait for the first wash to dry. I think this ink, which is Lexington Gray by Noodler's Ink, I remember last time, I remember it being very waterproof. But I think it's very humid here in the French Riviera, and things are taking a long time to dry, both ink and watercolor. I'm using raw sienna for these typical terracotta roofs. And also for some of the darker buildings. I'm also going to use it for these shutters, which are brown. Again, I'm painting with one hand and holding the camera with the other, so I apologize for any shakiness. Shutters here are mostly brown. In Italy, they're usually green. I'm gonna use some shadow violet for some gray for the trunk of this pine tree. In the foreground, I added some blue, which is apparently taking over. I'm gonna blot a little bit. I don't mind the blue because it's a nice contrast with all the browns, all the earth tones. I'm gonna use some blue for the insides of the few open windows. This is Saint Paul de Vence, and I don't know whether it's the time of year or what, but it's only and exclusively touristy. It's January, so I imagine there's even more tourists in the summer. But what I'm missing is not so much, what bothers me is not so much the fact that there are tourists, is that there's nothing but tourists. You don't see people going around their business the way you do, say, on the Amalfi Coast, where there's plenty of tourists. There's also plenty of locals living their lives. Mixing here. This is my travel palette. I'm trying to get a decent green by mixing some of the various colors I've used. And there's a few bushes. There's an amazing amount of green here considering it's late. Or, no, early January, but No, it's definitely winter. I forgot this trunk of this rather pathetic tree. This is where I have here going. I have these ancient city walls. St. Paul de Vence, where I am, is a walled city. It's very quaint, for sure. Alright, I think I'm going to use my larger brush for the sky, and I'm kind of graying out some blue, some cerulean blue. The sky is, it's sunny, but it's not really altogether blue. Tomorrow's supposed to rain, so I'm trying to enjoy what I can while I have it. That's some ultramarine for warmth. I'm gonna check out some spots I missed, and I'm gonna let this layer dry and come back with more. I'm gonna just add little touches of color. A little bit more burnt sienna here. I'm making this town a lot more colorful than it really is, but that's how I imagine it. This is burnt sienna mixed with a little bit of perylene scarlet. I love this town at first because I went into an area where nobody was, and I did my first sketch. I hated it during it because it was so crowded with just tourists. I'm liking it again because I found this quiet spot on the way out of town. You'll see the tourists leave town, just spending their money here. I'm gonna mix some grayish color with the raw sienna, so like the sky color and the raw sienna, just for another layer on some of the buildings. Some of them are darker than others. Oh look, I missed a whole roof. It's a garage door. Some of the sky color mixed with the green. I miss my little palm tree here. There's a little bit of green vegetation left on that tree. Let's see. Yeah. I forgot to put it on the first layer. Easily remedied. And then for texture, oops, a little bit more of that shadow violet on this tree, which is very dark because the sun is right behind it. Darken some of this. It's always a struggle between trying to paint what you see and be inspired by it, but also kind of wanting to do something that's pleasing to my eye, not necessarily because it looks just like what's in front of me, but because it's what the medium can do. Photorealism is one thing, watercolor sketching is altogether another. And yet, there has to be some connection with what you're sketching. So it's a fine line. Well, before I mess it up too much, I'm gonna stop. I really like it. It's a cute place. A sketch of Saint Paul de Vence, just outside of Nice.